Whether we have 700 partners that we're going to pay out or 1,000 or 1,200, it really doesn't change that much because we have a very simple, streamlined process. So my name is Goran da Silva. I'm the VP of Finance for StackCommerce. I also oversee legal, HR. What we do is basically a native commerce solution for publishers who do not necessarily want to do it themselves. So we sit right in between publishers and vendors, and we provide an augmented monetization experience for the publishers. And at the same time, we help vendors sell their products and generate meaningful earnings. Our whole business model is centered around payouts, paying both vendors and publishers and even our freelance network. So it's very important. Being in a startup, we're very lean. So it's only myself on the finance side and a controller who runs everything. So it's a pretty tight turnaround process. And from a scaling perspective, we need to make sure that we have a process that's very efficient in order to keep up with the demands of the business. We work with, I would say, between 700 to 1,000 different partners that we pay out every month. We do about $2 to $3 million a month in payouts. So it's a pretty substantial amount that goes out. Before then, it was a very cumbersome process. It took about a week to do all the payouts. And there's a couple of different reasons why they wanted to streamline it. One, obviously, cutting down on the bandwidth and the effort required. But then from a cost perspective too, it was very, very time consuming. But as far as the service provided to our vendors, they often had very specific requirements around how they wanted to get paid. So Stack ended up eating a lot of those costs. In addition, for every one-off, it took the team extra effort to do that, whether it was cutting checks, doing wires, etc. This is actually one of the best integrations that we've done from both a cost savings and from a resource savings perspective. So it's worked out really nicely. From a resource perspective, as we have grown over the past few years, we would have had to add some headcount to help with the payout process, because payouts obviously are core to us, but we do a lot more within finance and accounting through the month. So if it takes a week, a couple of years ago, as we've scaled the business, it would have taken even longer. So just from a headcount perspective, we would have had to rack up some more cost. Then also from like an error perspective, now we're much less error prone. We have a tighter process. So we're avoiding a lot of the prior potential mistakes that could be costly as well. So overall, it's both time and cost efficient for us, because our vendors that we need to pay out are all in different revenue share tiers. Or whether it's a digital product or a physical product, they get paid out a different share. Publishers are also on different rev shares as well, depending on the agreement. So a lot of different calculations take place through the month. We have a pretty streamlined process now from a partner's perspective. So they sign up with Stack, we create an account, and then they go in themselves and update all the information around payments. So the tax information, how they want to get paid, preferred method. And once that's all done, then they're up and running. So as far as the payouts go, and the onboarding is pretty simple. As we scale the business with the current setup that we have, it's very easy to add partners, both from an onboarding perspective and from a payout perspective. As far as actually executing the payments, once we verify that they're correct, it's super simple. We just log on to the platform and do batch approval, and it's very streamlined. So as far as scaling, I think we have the right setup. I think we currently have 70% of our payments going out to domestic partners and 30% to international partners. So we already have the infrastructure in place. The challenge for us is figuring out where we're going to expand next. Again, we're a small startup, very lean, and we are looking both at going into potentially new verticals on the publishing side. We recently added TV and the women's vertical. So that's one area we're looking at. Going global is another. It really is a very streamlined, simple process and interface. So it's just easy to use. We clearly want to do new things and new initiatives, and we're working with a CEO and a founder who has a lot of great ideas. So I think for us, it's really about being that sounding board for him, which in order to do so, we need to automate as much as we can to free up that space to work on the strategic initiatives. And doing the integration that we did with Tipalti has freed up time from what we went through in the past. So it's just continuing to always try and optimize what we can do to clear bandwidth. I think that's our biggest focus right now. So what we do is we're basically sitting in between publishers and vendors and we work for the end consumers as well. So for the end consumer, we provide great product discovery, a really cool, awesome product at a discount. And we've created this ecosystem, and we work with a lot of larger brands like CNN, for example, and we help them run their monetization and their e-commerce shops without them having to do it on their own. And at the same time, we're creating a lot of meaningful payments for these vendors, some of which their livelihood depends on their businesses that they run through us. So start out as a small business, but we've grown over the past 7 years, and happy to announce that we're actually paying, or we're passing the point of having paid out $100 million in aggregate payouts in a couple of weeks. So it's a big day for Stack.